G'day, how you going? God bless you. The title of this video is Triangle 36 equals Prince Harry, which is a fairly cryptic title for a video, and I'll explain later what the meaning of that is. But before I do, if you're new to this channel, let me say this. I believe, in accordance with Revelation chapter 13 verse 18, that Prince Harry is the Antichrist, or the false Messiah, or the beast spoken about in Revelation chapter 13. And that is because his name, Harry Mountbatten Windsor, in Hebrew, using standard Hebrew Gematria, and Gematria is simply the process of exchanging letters for numbers. Using standard Hebrew Gematria, Harry Mountbatten Windsor equals 666. Not only that, but Harry Spencer, if he was to choose his maternal surname as his surname, Harry Spencer in Hebrew, using standard Hebrew Gematria, also equals 666. Not only that, but Harry by itself equals 216. 216 has the factors 6 times 6 times 6. So we have 666 nestled within the number 216, nestled within his name, Harry. So we have three references which are the foundation from which we work. Two names explicitly equal 666, and we also have a reference to the number 666. That's the foundation from which we have built. And I say we because there is various collaborators who have discovered other combinations of his name that equal or reference the number 666. The reference to Harry Mountbatten Windsor was discovered in 2014 by a YouTube user whose name's Brian in response to a video I'd done in 2013. So let me just pause here and think about what I'm going to say next. Because we have references, before I explain that, first of all, Mountbatten Windsor is the surname of the royals since 1960, and that's his paternal surname, and his maternal surname is Spencer. His mother's maiden name was Spencer. And there is a royal precedent in play because Prince Philip, before he married Queen Elizabeth II, renounced his Greek and Danish titles, and he had to choose for himself a surname. And he decided upon his mother's maiden name, which is Mountbatten. So we have a royal precedent whereby Prince Harry could choose his mother's maiden name as his surname. And even if he doesn't, it's still a relevant reference to Prince Harry. So, because we have this reference to the number 216, 6 times 6 times 6, we have what I term as equivalencies. Another example of an equivalency which I came across through comments in a YouTube video. 600, threescore, and 6 equals 313. Also equaling 313 using ordinal English Gematria this is. So using ordinal English Gematria, 600, threescore, and 6 equals 313. Prince Harry Albert David Spencer also equals 313, as well as Prince Henry Albert David Spencer equals 313. So because we have these equivalencies, we have a foundation to work upon for other such expressions. So in regards to triangle 36 equals Prince Harry, a few weeks ago I was musing to myself and reflecting about how the number 666 could be expressed in another way. So if you think about 10-pin bowling, we have 10 pins. At the back line we have 4, then we have 3, which is 7, we have 2, which is 9, and we have one more at the front, which is 10. So a triangle of with a base of 4 has 10 units or 10 pins. It's an equilateral triangle, and each line is reduced by 1 as we get each line is added to. So a triangle with a base of 36, and 36 has the factors 6 times 6. A triangle with a base of 36 has 666 units. So I thought, I wonder if there's a calculation whereby using the expression triangle 36, if that would equal Prince Harry in some fashion or another. I then, and I tried that, and there wasn't anything obvious. Then I started thinking about how a triangle, the triangle is the Latin word for 3 angles. If you think about tricycle, that's a bike with 3 wheels. Tri means 3. Triangle means 3 angles. So I tried the expression 3 angles, and to properly explain what that relates to, because it could be any triangle, as I just discussed, it could be a base 4 triangle. If we use the other terms, base 36, so 3 angles, base 36 was what I put into my spreadsheet. I have a spreadsheet which calculates English, Greek, Hebrew, Gematria, and Russian and Arabic as well, expressions, and turns them into changes all the letter values into numerical values and gives me a result. So I have various different types of Gematria, and my last video I explained about Cardinal ordinal English Gematria, which was first made aware to me by a man who calls himself Jethro Black, and I've got 2 links to his videos that talk about that Gematria system in the description box below. He called it large number Gematria, but I've since built upon that Gematria system because it uses ordinal English Gematria, which has values just between 1 and 26. I've built upon that Gematria system with standard English Gematria, which uses values between 1 and 800. So 1 for the letter A and 800 for the letter Z. Essentially, all the single digit, the first 10 letters have the values 1 to 10, and then once we hit double digits, the values are incremented by 10, and then once we hit triple digits, the letters are incremented by 100. So using standard English Gematria as the basis for the values, and I'll just bring up a reference here on my computer. Just give me a second here. So first of all, as I explained in my last video, Cardinal ordinal English Gematria, or large value Gematria, it utilizes the numeral. So a numeral is the number spelt out. So for example, 1, O-N-E, using Cardinal English Gematria. O has a value of 15, N has a value of 14, and E has a value of 5. If we add those together, 15, 14, and 5 respectively, we get 34. So A then has a value of 34. Likewise, instead of using ordinal English Gematria, we use standard English Gematria instead, so that O, N, and E have the values 60, 50, and 5 respectively. So 1 therefore has a value of 115, and we assign that to the letter A. So each letter then has the numeral spelling for the number. So 2, T-W-O, each letter is exchanged for for standard English Gematria values. So T has a value of 200 in standard English Gematria, W has a value of 500, and O has a value of 60. So if we add all those up together, B then has a value of 760 because 2 using standard English Gematria has a value of 760. So using Cardinal standard English Gematria, and I'll just bring my reference up, using Cardinal standard English Gematria, 3 angles base 36, right, which is another expression for the number 666, equals 16,623. Also equaling that number is Prince Harry Charles Albert David. Now, that is extraordinarily unlikely that those two expressions would equal each other using this particular Gematria system. It is quite improbable, especially a man who already has many expressions of his name that equal 666. So the higher the number, the less likely the match. And sometimes in my, I was going to explain before, with my spreadsheet, I have these various Gematria systems being used, and I also have a database that it can be matched against. So I have a number of expressions, including Prince Harry and other things that match various numbers that I've built up over time. So when I did the search 3 angles base 36, Prince Harry Charles Albert David came up as the top search. And for it to equal the same, I have other equations whereby, and I'll go to an example, just bear with me. For example, using Cardinal Standard English Gematria, 666 equals 15,863. And using Cardinal Ordinal English Gematria, 666 equals 1,670. If we add them together, we get 17,533. Also equaling 17,533 is King Harry Charles Albert David using, first of all, Cardinal Standard English Gematria and Cardinal Ordinal English Gematria added together. So King Harry Charles Albert David equals 15,692 using Cardinal Standard English Gematria, and King Harry Charles Albert David equals 1,841 using Cardinal Ordinal English Gematria. If we add them together, we get 17,533. So that's an example of 2 Gematria systems being added up and equaling a number. That isn't as pure as using 1 Gematria system and 2 expressions equaling the same number. If that happens, that's a more pure form of Gematria, if you like. Another example of such a thing is, here we go. For example, number of his name using standard English Gematria equals 766. Also equaling 766 is Prince Harry using Jewish Old English Gematria. Now, this particular Gematria system, Jewish Old English Gematria, is only, as far as I'm aware, can only be found on the gematrix.org website, and they call it Jewish English Gematria. I call it Jewish Old English Gematria because it gives us a little bit more information as to where they developed the Gematria system from. You see, in 1630, the letters J, V, and W were added to the English alphabet. So instead of the letters J, V, and W coming in the order that they are in today, the numbers were assigned where they entered the alphabet at the end. So the last letter, therefore, was Z, which has a value of 500. Then J has a value of 600, V has a value of 700, and W has a value of 900. Now you would think it would be 800, but there's another letter, ampersand, which was a part of the English alphabet at one stage. So I believe that bumps W out of the 800 slot and into the 900 slot. That's my understanding of that Gematria system. So using that Gematria system, Jewish Old English Gematria, Prince Harry equals 766, and using standard English Gematria, number of his name, which is an expression in Revelation chapter 13, verse 17, that also equals 766. So we've got two Gematria systems that equal the same number, two different expressions that equal the same number. Another example is using ordinal English Gematria, number of man equals 122, and number of man using standard English Gematria equals 644. If we add them together, we get 766, which is the same number that Prince Harry was equaling and number of his name was equaling. So we have examples there, and they are not as pure a match as, for example, the one that we have at the moment, which is three angles base 36. So 3 angles base 36, that equaled, let's bring up my reference, 16,623. Also equaling that using Cardinal standard English Gematria is Prince Harry Charles Albert David. While I'm on the topic, we have Prince Harry equals 135 using ordinal English Gematria. 135, the mirror of that number is 531. If we add them together, we get 666. Also equaling 135 is Prince Henry. So I've got a combination here. Prince Harry equals 135. The Duke of Sussex equals 202. The number of the beast equals 207. And the Greek letters spelt in English, chi, xi, and stigma, which in the original Greek, in the Textus Receptus, those letters chi, xi, and stigma, they represent the numbers 600, 60, and 6. So that using ordinal English Gematria equals 122. So all of those expressions are in ordinal English Gematria. If we add them all up together, 135, 202, 207, 122, it equals 666. So, and just an extra point of reference there, or relevance, I should say. Chi, xi, stigma equals 122 using ordinal English Gematria, and number of man also equals 122, which I referenced earlier. So, and at the end of this video, all the graphics that I'm in front of, I'll remove myself, so to speak, and it'll just be a shot of the graphic, so you'll be able to take a screenshot for reference or whatever you like. But I have all these memes, all these little graphics that I put together, and they're posted on my Facebook page. So we have all these examples, and that's the foundation from which we build, where relevant titles are added together and equal a particular or relevant number. So that's that aside. If we come back to what the video is titled about, triangle 36 equals Prince Harry. So the cryptic title, the meaning of that is 3 angles base 36 equals 16,623, which equals using the same Gematria system. So it's a pure form, pure match. Prince Harry Charles Albert David, 16,623 also. So the fact that they match is an inference that there is a reference there of the number 666 to Prince Harry. Now I posted this particular equation on my Antichrist watch page on the 31st of March. So prior to that was when I was thinking about the triangle 36 and how it equals 666. And I had a lady in reply say this: you're using own theories to come to a conclusion. Use Bible theories. In Daniel, the Antichrist will have a strange God, she writes, but she means strange God. Does Harry fit some of this? And I replied to her in regards to that. But basically I said to her, my background is that I was a carpenter for 12 years and then a draftsperson for 6 years. So I have 18 years experience in the building industry. And when in high school I wanted to be an architect. I didn't have a certificate high enough to get me into architecture at university. So I took the back road, if you like, to becoming an architect. And when I was a carpenter, I did a lot of concreting, and I know what it's like to excavate a site, pour a foundation, and then build upon that foundation. In that 18 years as a carpenter slash draftsman, I know what it's like to lay a foundation and then build upon it. And that's what we're doing with Prince Harry. There are other combinations of his name that equal 666. And I'll just go to this graphic here. The Hebrew, and I'm doing this for the purpose that if you're new to this channel, that you have a background as to what I do and why I do it. So, as already explained, Harry Mountbatten Windsor equals 666. Harry Spencer equals 666 using standard Hebrew Gematria. So that's his paternal and maternal surnames. Then it was discovered by Brian, Prince Henry Albert David equals 666 using Hebrew. And his given names are Henry Charles Albert David. So in that title, the name Charles is missing. Captain Henry of Wales, another collaborator, discovered that. And Harry, her name was Crystal, I believe. Her YouTube username was Crystal. And Prince Harry, his name when he was in the military was simply Harry Wales, and his military rank was captain. So that's where we get that title from. Antichrist Look to Harry is another reference, and that comes from a discovery that I made in relation to, I think it was 1 John chapter 2 verse 15 off the top of my head. And we found the text, when you lay it out, that it has Antichrist Look to Harry. So that expression has been put into Hebrew, and that equals 666. And that expression, Antichrist Look to Harry, also comes up in a number of other places. And the last one, which was discovered by Tim Cohen before any of the discoveries relating to Prince Harry took place, Prince Charles of Wales. So that title was originally applied to King Charles, and so Harry's names are Henry Charles Albert David. There's no use of Charles except for in this title. So what am I trying to say there? With the discovery of Prince Henry Prince Henry Albert David, Charles wasn't used. So it makes sense that there would be another combination that did utilize the name Charles. Prince Harry is also a Prince of Wales. So he's not the Prince of Wales, but he is a Prince of Wales. He is Prince Harry of Wales. So Prince Charles of Wales is a combination of his name that can be applied to him. And then we have Harry, as I've already spoken, equals 216, which has the factor 6 times 6 times 6. So there's 7 Hebrew names that equals 666. For one name to equal 666, the chances of that is 1 in 1,000, which is not really that improbable. It's 1 in 1,000 is a fairly probable event. And the way we work that out is for the first value to be 6, there's a 1 in 10 chance that could be a 6. For there to be 2 6s in a row, that's 1 in 100, and for 3 6s, that's 1 in 1,000. So that's how we work that out. For 2 names, which is 6 filling the position of 6 positions, that's 1 in a million. 3 names is 1 in a billion, and 4 names is 1 in a trillion. 5 names is 1 in a quadrillion. 6 names, 1 in a quintillion. 7 names, 1 in a sextillion. And 8 names, because there's another name I haven't told you, is 1 in a septillion. So that's 1 followed by 24 zeros. And the chances of dying in an aircraft journey is 1 in 8.5 million. So the other Greek name, using ordinal Greek Gematria, Harry, Charles, Albert, David, Mountbatten, Windsor, Spencer equals 666, using ordinal Greek Gematria. So as I said, 8 names equaling 666, and one of those names is a reference, is a 1 in a septillion chance that is an accident. And as I said, the chances of dying in an aircraft journey is 1 in 8.5 million. 1 in 8.5 million. So that's the foundation that we're building from. The probability that this man would have so many names that equal or reference the number 666. And I have a chart that has 329 names that equal or reference the number 666. And I gave an example with that 313. There's other examples of that. For example, 600 threescore 6, so without the and, equals 294. Well, Duke Henry Windsor of Wales equals 294. King Harry Windsor of Wales, King Henry Windsor of Wales, Prince Harry, the King of Israel, Prince Henry, the King of Israel, all equal 294. And another example using a value. Actually, I was looking at one column, and there's another column of names that equal 294. Harry, Charles, Albert, David, Wales equals 294. Henry, Charles, Albert, David, Wales equals 294. They're more closer to his original name, those expressions. 275, so 666 without the and. Duke Harry, Charles, Albert, David, Duke Henry, Charles, Albert, David, King Harry, Charles, Albert, David, King Henry, Charles, Albert, David, all equal 275. Another example is using, so all those examples before were using ordinal English Gematria. Duke Harry, Duke Henry, King Harry, and King Henry all equal 666 using base 6 English Gematria. So what Gematrix.org call English Gematria. So that's ordinal English Gematria multiplied by 6. So Duke Harry equals 111 using ordinal English Gematria, and if we multiply that by 6, then it equals 666. So interestingly, computer equals 666 using that Gematria system, base 6 English Gematria system. One could argue as to Christians using computers, if we multiply that number by 7, then we get 777. So it comes down, you could argue, comes down to who is using the computer as to whether it has an evil connotation or reference or relationship. It is believed that when Prince Harry is king, although that argument breaks down because his title is also Duke, and he's currently a Duke. But I had argued that when Prince Harry is king, that the Gematria system that's multiplied by 6 becomes more relevant. You could also argue, as time proceeds, that any good use of computers is slowly diminishing. What do I mean by that? What comes to mind is artificial intelligence. What comes to mind is in Revelation chapter 13, where it talks about the image of the beast, that the second beast arranges to be made. It's some sort of statue, or, well, what I believe it's a cyborg or a robot or an android, and there's calculations that relate to Prince Harry in relation to those cyborg and android, and I'll bring them up. I haven't got them in front of me. I'll bring them up in the background when I go to post-edit this video. But it's my belief that there'll be an effigy of Prince Harry in the form of an android or a cyborg, and that is what will be worshipped. The second beast sets up some sort of and I believe that the second beast is Pope Francis, and once again there's Gematria references between the second beast and the first beast, Pope Francis and Prince Harry. I hadn't planned on saying or talking about those things, so that is a little bit off the top of my head, those things, but I do have existing videos about that if you want to go and look at them as to what I'm talking about there. But going back to the term computer, which equals 111 using ordinal English Gematria and 666 using base 6 English Gematria, if we multiply it by 6, then it equals 666. Using ordinal English Gematria, it equals 111. If we multiply that by 6, we get 666. If we multiply it by 7, we get 777. Which there's a line of thinking there that may be weak, but essentially, if it's to do with corruption, things being corrupted, things. Weapons can be used for hunting. A bow and arrow can be used to hunt an animal for eating, which God has ordained. But if we were to use a weapon to kill someone, that's a corrupt way of using that weapon. In that vein of thinking, I believe that artificial intelligence and everything to do with androids and that sort of thing, that's going to be used in a corrupt manner, and that's the reference that I'm making in the use of the number 6. Okay, so once again, a little bit off topic there. So I did want to say one other thing briefly. On the 23rd of September 2017, most people would know that the Revelation 12 heavenly sign took place. The moon moved under the feet of Virgo at 1730 hours in Israel, so 5:30 in the afternoon. The moon moved under the feet of Virgo, Israel time. 9 hours later in Toronto, in Canada, the Invictus Games, the opening ceremony took place at 7:30 local time in Toronto. So 9 hours apart, those two events. And I have this doctrine, which I first heard about through the preacher Stephen Anderson. I have a doctrine about the dual chronology of the book of Revelation. So chapters 6 to 11 is one chronological stream, and chapters 12 to 19 is another chronological stream. So based on the doctrine of the dual chronology of the book of Revelation, whereby chapters 6 and the first seal being opened and the Revelation chapter 12 heavenly sign, they correlate. They were meant to happen at the same time, and they did, just 9 hours apart. They happened on the same day. So using that belief, and I have a number of Gematria calculations, which in a future video I'm going to discuss, to draw that connection even stronger. I believe that the first seal has been opened. The rider of the white horse has gone forth conquering and to conquer. And the word Invictus, in relation to the Invictus Games, Invictus means unconquered. So the platform from which the rider goes forth is the Invictus Games. The platform, or the white horse, if you like, is the Invictus Games. And Prince Harry is the rider of that white horse. So I have Gematria calculations, which I'm going to talk about in a future video, that connect those two events. Many Christians believe that the Revelation 12 heavenly sign was legitimate, and that'll be the topic of a future video. But this one, cryptic title, Triangle 36 equals Prince Harry. A triangle has 3 angles. So 3 angles, base 36. That's enough information to tell us that we're talking about an equilateral triangle that, like 10-pin bowling, has 10 pins and has a base of 4. Likewise, a triangle with a base of 36 has 666 units, or pins if you like. So that equals 16,623. And using Cardinal Standard English Gematria, that also equals Prince Harry Charles Albert David, using that Gematria system that I just mentioned. So I am yet to see another match like that, using that Gematria system, because the numbers are so high, it makes the matching more and more unlikely. So I think I've spoken enough in this video. That's all I need to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you again in another one. God bless and bye.